Well, this is awkward. I completely forgot that this account existed. I'm not gonna lie. So let's talk about some stuff that I've been doing out of pure boredom. First of all, I am now writing blogs. If anyone cares about silly, whimsical facts, I'm doing that every Sunday and Thursday. They're published every Sunday and Thursday. Just some like blog stuff. The unsolved files. I thought that was fun. And in other news, whatever, I am now officially a 4-time author. I have officially released Miniature Novels 2, which, as you can see, is way smaller than Miniature Novels 1, which I have right here. This, you see? I went a little crazy with this one, but this one is way more digestible sometimes. So I want to talk about this. I did a video similar to this one with my other 3 books. I think I did it last year. I honestly don't remember. But now I want to talk about this book. So first of all, it was released July 26th, and they arrived a little while before. So I was excited to have it like in my hand. My vision is coming true. I didn't expect this to be so small, but give me a second. Give me a second. Jesus. This is the back, same format as this. Same vibes. This is just Miniature Novels 2, Lured by the Shadows of Darkness. Can't even pronounce my own book. That's nice. So, Miniature Novels 2 took me way too long to write this tiny thing. I should be embarrassed, and I am embarrassed because there was no reason for it to take this long, other than the fact that I was purely procrastinating. Like, there's no other excuse. The only reason why I published it is because I have an event coming up in October, which I'll tell you more about later, and I needed these. I just wanted to have something new to show people, because I haven't published it. I didn't publish anything last year. This was supposed to come out last year, and it didn't, because I didn't finish it. And I was like, I'm gonna force myself to finish it. I mean, I finished it pretty hurried up, so there might be a lot of typos in this, I'm not gonna lie. Who knows? Content-wise, this is the cover, same vibe as this one, same height, width, etc. because I'm not gonna be struggling. This one is 250-ish pages, and this one is 400 and something. 26 stories. I think there's 7 miniature novels here, and short stories, and the feelings out loud. Oh, also, no one cares, but I added this thing for AI. Basically, that this book may not be used for AI training or development. I added it in all of my books. I don't remember if I added that to the digital versions. The preface, which I'm not gonna read, but there it is, same as the other one. It's only 2 pages. It's actually shorter than the other one. And our content warnings. There are a lot of content warnings with this. Abandonment, asphyxiation, blood, body horror, cannibalism, child abuse, child endangerment, coercion, cruelty to animals, death, death threats, drug use, emotional abuse, emotional pain, escalating violence, family trauma, graphic violence, gun violence, hallucinations, intrusion, isolation, kidnapping, manipulation, mental health struggles, murder, neglect, obsessive behavior, paranoia, parental dysfunction, physical and emotional exhaustion, physical and emotional violence, psychological distress, rape, insinuation, sadism, self-doubt, self-harm ideation, separation, sexual abuse, sexual assault, sexual objectification, sexual violence, spiders, substance use, suicide, trespassing, and unhealthy power dynamics. So if those are triggering for you, maybe this book is not the one for you. These are the contents. We have 7 miniature novels. They are Silent Betrayal, Ill-Fitted Armor, In the Absence of Sound, Pearls and Lingerie Volume 2, Where Do Pumpkins Go, Afraid of Roses, and Black Pearl. Where Do Pumpkins Go is a mix between English and Spanish, and I did not translate. So whip out the Google Translate if you don't understand. Then short stories. We have Ceiling Man, One Temptation, Honeymoon, Warp, Blue and Green, Main Character, Bajo la Mirada del Antaño, The Bus Diaries, Draconian's 60 Years, and De Sus Paraderos. Feelings Out Loud, we have To Harlow, Whispers of Chance, Unhinged, Your Bower, Why Do You Feel So Down, My Head's on Your Chest, Imaginary Seat, and La Estrella. I played with Spanish a lot in this book, so something to keep in mind. I am not going to go into detail with some of them because they make me slightly uncomfortable, but we have, of course, obviously, author's notes at the end. So if you want to know why they make me uncomfortable, you can just read that. The first one is Silent Betrayal. I played a little bit with regarding chapters. This book is very experimental. So for example, with this, I'm playing with hours. So instead of chapter 1, it's hour 1, and blah, blah, blah. This one is short. Silent Betrayal is less than 10 pages. So it's like first hour, 11 p.m. And then it goes second hour, 12 a.m. and blah, 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 blah. And this one is tricky, but it is basically just about, it's a mix between emotional abuse and power dynamics within a relationship and having to navigate it. You know, it's undertones because it's less than 10 pages, so I can't really divulge, but that is essentially what it is. Okay, I'm gonna read to you the first 2 paragraphs of Silent Betrayal. He wanted to hug me, that's it. That's what he said, it's what he told me. I was visiting France for a few interviews. I guess this writing thing was booming in such a way that people started to care about my existence. I wanted to care about people too, maybe a little. I went to a bar one night, alone. I probably shouldn't have gone alone, but I didn't know better. I wanted to meet people and talk, hopefully not recognized or harassed for a picture. I sat in this booth by the corner. The bar was hideous. It was called Crystal's Cocktails, which is a stupid name, in my opinion. I stared at the ceiling, thinking about whatever. I turned, and then this man next to me, his name was Gene. He said, "Hi." I said, "Hi." He was 2 years older than me and medicine student. He was flirty, just a little, but I could tell he was playing hard to get and pushing to get me desperate. That's it. That's all you're gonna get. Then, Ill-Fitted Armor. I really like this one. I have not read it in ages, but I liked it. So again, we have the index, and this one is divided by phases. I tried to do like the phases of a relationship, and I did 10 phases apparently. We have curiosity, magnetism, lust, attachment, heaven, plunge, catastrophe, separation, mourning, and enlightenment. It's about relationships. The majority of these stories are about relationships. So yeah, that one is also relatively short. I'm gonna read the first page of Ill-Fitted Armor. Phase 1, curiosity. She wakes in an unknown hiding spot. It looks like her childhood bedroom. There's an orange desk and a red chair, 6 pairs of shoes tidy. Her bookshelf is overflowing with stories she's barely touched in years. Resurrected insecurities, unpolished for a while, reflect on the walls. Her first feeling is loneliness. She feels alone, yet doesn't know what it means to be alone, yet. Unsure, she rises. She slips into something else and leaves comfort. It's 8 in the morning. She drives to a park a few blocks from her childhood home. There she notices a girl chatting with an older woman. It reminds her of herself a year ago, around the time when she first started to believe in nightmares. She wanders to where the light's bright enough to kiss her skin, to hiss her skin. Her hair catches fire in an ungodly way that makes her skull burn. Hiding from the sun's orgasm. Fate takes her to a bar. Lots of bars here. I didn't notice that when I was editing. In the absence of sound. I really like this one. This one is really... wonder why. Okay. I have some explaining to do with this one. This one is also about relationships. I like to think of the first three, these three that I've just shown you, to be like the continuation of one another, because that's kind of how I see it in my brain. So it's the first relationship, the second relationship, and the third one. So in the absence of sound, there's a lot of recurring thoughts about these other two relationships that were the most impactful, and other small stuff in between. Originally, in the absence of sound was supposed to be a whole other thing. It was going to be like paranormal activity stuff, like seeing ghosts, but with the living instead. You get the vision? I just didn't understand. I didn't know how to put it into words. So it's like, I'm just gonna write something else. And I was already working on something. The other thing that I was working on, it ended up becoming in the absence of sound. So I did not change the chapter names. So they might sound a little weird, but I swear they make sense in the context of the book, I think. If they don't, well, let's call it experimental and move on, you know? The tongueless, the stench, the blink, and the weight. This same chapters and yada yada yada. This is the third relationship. I think this one is a lot nicer than the other two. I like it. I think it's cute. I think it's very cute. Now I'm gonna read to you the very first two paragraphs of In the Absence of Sound. You might think the most difficult part of killing yourself is figuring out how to do it, but really the how is everywhere. The manuals are out there, buried in forums, tucked into PDF guides, whispered between the lines of too many search results. The real pain is not in the action. It's in the aftermath. It's figuring out how to leave people behind. It's the not quite goodbyes, the half-written texts left unsent, the questions people will carry like ghost limbs. That's what kills you before anything else can. The uncertainty you'll plant in their heads, that's what lingers in the air like thick, uncrossable cigarette smoke. That's what suffocates. And the cruelest part, you won't be around to explain it, to soften the blow, to say I didn't mean to haunt you. There's no closure, only the clumsy rituals of the living, trying to make sense of something grown senseless. You become a puzzle with missing pieces no one can find. A sentence interrupted mid-syllable. A friend introduced me to the love of my life one Wednesday. Office lighting bright, too bright, fluorescent and cold. I remember the weight washed over my face and kissed my forehead into a headache. I was wearing a redacted Teams top, something borrowed, something blue, something that made me feel like a poser. I don't even like sports, but there I was, meeting someone who'd matter, looking like I cared about stats and scores. I left that moment thinking I'd left a bad impression. Funny how that's the first thing I remember. Not the way your eyes met mine, or if I smiled, just the headache, and the feeling of not being enough. I catalog rejection faster than affection. It's a survival skill, dressed as memory. Blah, 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 blah. That's it. Those are the first three stories. I think they're kind of interconnected. Then, you finish that, and you're like, oh, that was so sweet. After this intense first two miniature novels, very sweet third, and then you have Pearls and Lingerie, Volume 2, which is basically like a fuck the patriarchy, a I hate men type of, rampage. And this one is longer, it's like 40 pages, and it's written in a very like Jane Austen, Oscar Wilde style, which is very different from the other type of stuff that I've written. Because I'm telling you, I wanted to be more experimental and basically say that like I can write more than one style. These index, we have An Invitation for the Faint of Heart, In the Name of Pearls and Piety, Web of Words and Wedding Bells, A Man's Opinions, How Daring, The Fickle Nature of Fame, Ladies Doth Protest and Kiss, and From the Hilltop Looking Up. Now I'm going to read the first chapter, well, not the first chapter, the first maybe 3 paragraphs of Pearls and Lingerie, Volume 2. Chapter 1, An Invitation for the Faint of Heart. Dear reader, there lies a truth I must confess to you at once. I am not one to meet expectations, that is. Whatever has been demanded of me, I have often left unanswered, and I admit to taking peculiar joy in observing the crestfallen expression of those who had harbored hope for my compliance. Kindness has never been my forte, and I cannot feign an effort toward its cultivation. Dishonesty, I find, is a most uncomfortable bedfellow, pricking at my conscience and my rendering my repose intolerable. Mamma, ever the moral compass of the household, has not rarely extolled the virtues of truthfulness, declaring that no reputable lady would dare stoop to the corruption of deceit. The distress and truth spring forth is naughty, and none should accompany such a thing, says she, tossing her arms theatrically. Unthinkable, I believe, is the most apt term to describe the stupor into which I seem to have fallen, as if the mere suggestion of my remaining unmarried were a direct insult to Mamma's very constitution. And you can kind of see where this is going, right? Okay. Big words for my Spanglish. The next miniature novels is Where Do Pumpkins Go? The index is divided into 3 parts. It's short. It's literally 7 pages. The first part is in Spanish. It's called Cenizas de Mí. Second part, Violence Against Others. And the third part is The Moon Connects Us. The very first part is entirely in Spanish. It's a single perspective. Then, the second part of this book starts from a different perspective. The first part is in first person, second and third are in third person, and second and third are in English because they're from a third person point of view, and the first is in Spanish, basically insinuating that our main character speaks Spanish. That's her native tongue. This miniature novel particularly is a dialogue towards religion and patriarchy and machismo. It makes sense, I swear. I really like it. I think it's some of my best work in regards to how it can be analyzed. So I'm gonna read to you a little bit of this first part, which is in Spanish. So, part 1. Cenizas de mí. Consolada por la desnudez, me veo a través de un reflejo. El suelo perfora mi piel y la enfría, picando mis pezones de forma fuerte y notoria. Una mezcla de sangre y revertimiento uterino fluye entre mis muslos, algo común para una mujer de mi edad. Siento como mi útero se contrae cuando un cólico golpea los nervios alrededor de mi abdomen. Retuerzo hacia adelante, jadeo en busca de aire como si una fuerza me impulsara más allá de mis propios movimientos. Sintiéndome como si estuviera en un trabajo de parto, sangre brota de mí hacia el suelo. Mientras me miro en el espejo, no puedo evitar preguntarme si alguien volverá a reconocerme como hermosa. Blah, blah, blah. And that continues. And then, see, here we, part 2 and part 3, we're getting Easter eggs, okay? The story from the first part, the first person point of view, continues via the footnotes. I don't know if you can tell, but footnotes are in Spanish. So they continue there and they're strategically placed throughout the English paragraphs. You can either read all of the footnotes first and then read the English paragraphs, or you can read all of the English paragraphs first and then read the footnotes, or you can read the paragraphs, you see a footnote, you go to the footnote, blah, 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 and then you continue and so on. Whatever you want to do, you go ahead. You'll also notice in part 2 and part 3, pronouns related to men are going to be capitalized, and pronouns related to women are going to be not capitalized. Why? Because you're going to have to read to figure it out. I could tell you, but that kind of ruins the whole point. I just wanted to explain that quickly in case someone doesn't get it. I think I also explained it in the author's note, but I honestly don't remember. Next, we have Afraid of Roses. Oh my god. Afraid of Roses. How can I even explain this hallucination to you? This is the most gruesome thing that I've ever written. Honestly, I have no idea how that even came out of my brain and into my hands. and into my keyboard, and I read it and I published it, and now it's printed forever. I have no explanation for this. No explanation whatsoever. I don't even know what to tell you. This isn't, it's a lot. If you feel uncomfortable by a lot of the content warnings that we talked about earlier, just skip Afraid of Roses. Just skip it. Just skip it entirely. Please be mindful, okay? Prologue. Chapter 1, I'm sorry I tried to warn you. Chapter 2, suck in zucchinis under showers of milk. Chapter 3, the night he told me he loved me. Chapter 4, don't ruin this for me, okay? And the last one is 10 years old without a voice. You do what you will with that. I'm gonna read to you the prologue of Afraid of Roses, okay? I'm gonna read to you a little bit of the Afraid of Roses, the prologue, so you understand what I'm talking about. Imagine I'm screaming and crying and hitting my head against a wall adorned by teacups once filled with chamomile tea and a hint of honey, hoping I bleed to death. And then, out of nowhere, the frame stops, and I go, this is a strange little occurrence. You're probably very concerned for my well-being, which, I guess, is a valid thing. Let me explain. And then the rest of this starts. And then it starts. And every time you're gonna turn the page and you're gonna say, wow, I didn't know this was possible. And then you're gonna keep turning it. And you're gonna go, there's more? How could there be more? And then eventually you're gonna reach the end and you're gonna go, let's get this girl a therapist. We should. GoFundMe is starting soon. Then when you're done with that, you're gonna think it cannot get any worse, and it cannot, I guarantee. So we have Black Pearl, which is like the end. I know this is not a pearl, this is a diamond, but a pearl would just be like the circle. So there weren't really a lot of options. Now, index for Black Pearl. We have of ghosts, a hunger without name, within the orchard. Orchard? Is it orchard or orchard? Body and bone, pearls have teeth, the cellar, in the clock forest, invader of the worlds, and she who devours. And this is divided by acts. So it'd be like act 1, act 2, act 3, blah, blah, blah. I originally wanted this to be like a, how's it called? Like a script for a play, but I don't know how to write plays. And I was in a hurry. I did not have time to figure out how to write a play. So it's gonna be like in the maybe. I'll write a play eventually. I'm gonna read to you the first page of Act 1, which is called Of Ghosts. The ballroom is a stage. Its polished floors reflect the flickering lights from above, only to cast ghostly shadows against the high, gold-embellished walls. Every reflection is a lie. Overhead and chandeliers drip crystal teardrops, a glimmer fractured across puffed-up gowns and tailored suits. This kind of evening is what started it all. Ilana drifts like smoke curling through the room, almost a figure in her gown, the onyx gown pulling around her like spilled ink staining the floorboards. Her presence is overwhelming, yet impossible to grasp. Her eyes are black holes pulling in light, life, and hope, fixed on something beyond the confines of the room, beyond the dance and its shallowness. She's not part of this crowd, not really. The laughter, the music, the elegant dance all melt into a warped haze, a maze, a taste of twisted words and enchanted echoes, woe all but her. Aldrich stands beside her, voice threading through a din like an anchor unstable. His eyes follow around the room, bouncing from person to person as if lost in the light. You seem distracted tonight, and that's it. And you're gonna have to figure out the rest. So now, short stories. I'm not gonna read to you the short stories because they're short. My short stories are actually short. They're like 1 or 2 pages. So if I read it to you, it's just I'm gonna ruin the whole thing. So we have Ceiling Man, One Temptation. Honeymoon is crazy. Honeymoon is crazy. I don't know what was wrong with me. Then we have Warp, Blue and Green. Crazy titles, I know. Main character, honestly, I don't know. I think this is more so a feeling out loud than a short story, but it's already printed. So then we have Bajo la mirada del antaño, which I actually had to write for a class. I think I got a 90 something. Then the Bus Diaries, which I wrote after writing the bus. Then we have Draconians. Draconians is long. It was originally in Spanish because I wrote it for a class, but I switched it to English because Spanish it was not working out for the vibe that I was going for. Then we have 60 Years and De sus Paraderos, which was also for a class. Can you believe it? And then once you're done with that, we do the Feelings Out Loud. We have To Harlow. Harlow does not exist. I don't know who Harlow is. I don't know if that's actually someone's name. It sounds kind of like a dog's name. Then Whispers of Chance, Unhinged, and Your Power. Then Why Do You Feel So Down? And My Head's on Your Chest. This thing, the fact that it's like two-lined was bothering me so bad, you have no idea. It still bothers me, but there was no choice. Then we have Imaginary Seat and La Estrella, and that's it. We've reached the author's note, which is basically everything that I just said, but a little bit more actually. That's everything there is. Are there any questions? So yes, that is Miniature Novels 2. It is, if you found it interesting, it's available in paperback and digital version on Amazon right now. I'm gonna leave the link in the description. So sorry, I'm really sorry that I ghosted you for so long, but it was with good measure because I was working. Well, I was kind of working on my book, not really, but I was being academic, okay? And then I started working on my book when I realized that I had to finish it. If you found this book interesting, you can look it up if you want. You can purchase it. I'd appreciate it a lot. And I am excited to see what you think about it. Yeah, that's it. I don't have anything else to say. I'll see you next time. Who knows when? I definitely don't. So, bye.